Hello, YouTube. I'm not gonna lie. Um, one second. One second. I'm not the hugest fan of coming live because the troll situation on here is ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous. And you wanna kind of, it's like that human element that's supposed to be a better situation when coming live. I look at other people's lives and I'm like, what on earth? So, I mean, not that it should make me feel better that other people get the same sort of, let me just turn my brightness up on my phone. Not that it should make me feel better that other people get attacked on here, but you know, I guess I don't take it personal. I guess I don't have to take it personally. Um, Yeah, and I come on live and I just feel like people take the opportunity to just like work on you and do all kinds of crazy stuff and whatever. And of course, I feel like right now, um, the spiritual community is under heavier attack than normal. I've seen things from before. I've seen times where the attacks have been harder. But I feel like people know what's coming. People know what kind of seeds they've planted. People know what kind of things they've been a part of. They're trying to get channels shut down desperately. They want to keep people in the dark from getting information. It's just been one thing after the other that I've noticed. I've seen that on multiple platforms, on a lot of platforms that I care for, that I like. People have to get new channels, get new platforms. And a lot of readers are implants. They're very obviously implants. Now, their pages continue to grow. Last time you saw them, they had 19,000 followers. Now they got 100,000 followers. Meantime, the people that are actually telling the truth have to keep making new pages. Their pages keep getting stopped. Their engagement keeps getting blocked. And I feel like you know them by the messages that they give, quite frankly. And I feel like people that give the best messages, those are the ones that are attacked harder. So my channel is no different. I'm in a space now where I'm looking at my engagement drop, my posts being reported. And I just figured it would be a matter of time. I never figured it would be this soon. I mean, it's a very small platform. I only have like 94 subscribers. So I don't think this platform would be big enough to attack, but it is what it is. Um, today, today has been well, actually this whole week has been different. I'll say this, there's so many times where I'll have a message or I'll have something that I want to talk about, and then I kind of feel like, what's the point of even putting the message out? Um, Only because I know that the conversation regarding healing is not a conversation that people want to hear. I have a couple different kinds of people that I suspect watch me. I definitely know that people who target me spiritually, people who gang stalk me, obviously, they're the number one watchers of my channel for sure. They want to know what I know. They want to know um, what I'm up to. They just want to know anything they can know because they have no access to me. So they really they watch a lot. They want to see my temperament, they want to see my mood, they want to see if what they did worked, etc., etc. They want to see if I'm going to complain about things that they did, so they can get confirmation if it worked, because a lot of the stuff that they do, it doesn't work on me at all. Then I have people, and I don't know what percentage of this, but I do have people who watch me who are actively being gang stalked. And people who get a lot of assistance from the information that I share. And I predominantly, I mean, I've told my story on here in the first couple of, well, the majority of videos that I have up. I've told my personal gang stalking story, and then it's kind of evolved into two kinds of content. Some of it sometimes blended, but one would be spiritual and the other would be very solid content about like technical information that you need to understand the process of being gang stalked. So, what is gang stalking? What exactly is their motive? I think a lot of people do not understand the actual motive of being gang stalked. Like, they think they're just being harassed, unfortunately. And it is far from that. And they think that they're just being followed everywhere. If you only freaking knew. And one thing that I try to do with my platform is I try to tell people about the spiritual component of what's happening, because if you only understood how deep it was spiritually, and a part and parcel of that is understanding who you are, why you're being attacked this hard. So, here's what I want to talk about today. The people that are attacking you. This is an organized group. It's global, and it's a lot more than just the people in your local city. They're a lot more, it's global, okay? These people have their own networks. And I'm not telling you something that I'm assuming, I'm telling you something I have observed in my time. These people are in every position. So if you talk about things like energy work, there are people that do have government contracts. There are people that do supply the government with information, and they are part of this network. There are people who they have chains of businesses, and as they extend to new cities or new locations, they provide those resources and that assistance to those cities, to those new gang stalkers that are developing. This is a network. Whether you want to call them a coven, or whether you want to call them maybe like a multi-platform sort of coven, whether you want to call it government, whatever you want to call it, it is a international group, okay? You're being attacked because you have spiritual gifts that they want. And so what they do, you just haven't realized your gifts yet. Or you have a certain destiny or a certain path that somebody sniffed you out and they want. And so what they do is they want to take it away from you. They want to use it for themselves. And then they want to essentially control you, have you under control, block you from divine energy, block you from your destiny, block you from the path that you're supposed to walk. All of these gifts that these people have, they were not inherited and they were not passed down to them. These are gifts that were stolen, and they were stolen at the, how would I put it? They had to sacrifice other people to do it. Let's put it that way. They did. You may or may not know what your gifts and your talents are. So I always say to people, when I have this spiritual conversation, please suspend your disbelief for a second. If you are a person who's like, this is ridiculous, I don't believe it, suspend that for a bit. We're talking about groups of people who see something in you, and it may not necessarily be like telepathy or psychic abilities. It may not even be that. It may just be um a heightened ability to connect to people, or to attract people, or to attract positive circumstances to yourself. And that may just be part and parcel with your personality. They want that. If your children have any sort of gifts or talents, they want that. They'll prey down your children. They'll even prey on future children that you're supposed to have. They have constant readings on you. They constantly want to know what you're up to, if the work's working, if things are backfiring. These are the kind of things that you're dealing with when you're in gang stalking. It is not just people following you around. Now, there are people that are so gluttonous. They don't want to leave you with anything. They don't even want to leave you with security. They don't want you to rebuild. They don't want you to have control over your life. They don't want you to have any happiness, any hope. The constant attacks, what it does, and I've said this in so many lives, it takes away your ability to have hope in the future. It takes away your ability to try. And because you feel so dejected, you're not even thinking about, well, let's say you're starting a new project, a new in a new school. Let's say like you're starting, I don't know, you want to build something in your backyard, let's say. And the first time you go into the backyard, it's raining heavily, so you have to delay it another day. And then you go back in, and then a pipe bursts in the backyard, and you have to go back and you got to fix that. And you go back again, and it's like the store where you're buying tools doesn't have the materials that you need. So you got to go back and you got to start again. These are the kind of obstacles that they put in your way because they know, based on who you are and how you are and how skilled you are and how diligent you are, that once you start building, this is going to be an oasis in your backyard. This is going to be amazing. This is guaranteed. It is guaranteed that whatever you build is going to be amazing. And it could be for any reason. It could be your attention to detail. It could be, the skills that you've acquired over time. It could be whatever. People don't want you to know that it is guaranteed. They want you to feel that anytime I step in the back there, something's going to go wrong. So it is your job to build through that chaos. And how you start doing that is you change your perspective. If the perspective is every time I step outside, something goes wrong, then what needs to change is you need to say, every time I step outside, I discover something that I need to solve that puts me way ahead of the competition. And I'm getting rid of that hurdle now. I don't want to build on a faulty foundation. I don't want to build in a backyard that has plumbing issues in the foundation. So I'm going to need to fix that first. So it's easier for me to fix it now that I've dug it up and found it myself, rather than having a sewage leak under my property for the last 10 years that I didn't know about. Now this is a real problem because the house is sinking. It is better for me to know that that store here is unreliable for products to get supplies. So I'm going to have to go online and find a reliable supplier that I can get things from in a timely fashion. You must change your perspective. This is not a hurdle. This is just what it takes. This is not working. This is not functioning. My YouTube platform is losing engagement. Now it's an opportunity for you to dig a little bit deeper and learn, how do I build a platform? What is going to result in my platform flourishing? When I first came on here, they would report my platform. The guy gang stalking me would report my platform all the time, and the engagement was lower than normal. It was horrible. But I had to be realistic with myself. I'm like, you can't just have 5 videos and expect to have 5,000 followers and, 19,000 views. It takes time to build it. It takes constant promotion. It takes all kinds of things. I might have to edit the content that I'm putting out. I might have to go ahead and, get a better camera. I might have to fix up my lighting issues. I might have to be more consistent. But what it really boils down to is, have I put in the work? And so you truly cannot judge the efforts of what you're doing until you've really put in the work. So every time you face an obstacle and every time you face something that is getting in your way, this is not an opportunity to feel dejected. This is an opportunity to learn how to close a door, how to open a door, how to get over a hurdle, how to figure something out. It is important to have that mindset shift as you move forward into the future. Remember that you're building through situations that people want to bring to you that are chaotic. It is important for you to look at your life in that way. You're being gang stalked. Like, you're not talking about one person harassing you, you're talking about multiple people, and you must continue moving through the cycle. You will come to a point in your cycle where you need to work and you need to move on. You can't stay there. You need to continue to push forward. And it's guaranteed. Like I said, the success is guaranteed because of the kind of person that you are. Because you've probably done this before. You've experienced things before, because people are trying to take from you probably something that you already have. So that's number one as far as things go. This kind of thing to me is part and parcel with clearing your space energetically. Part of clearing your space energetically is not just clearing for energy that's sent to you, it's also for clearing your energy that you're developing that you haven't cultivated in the right way as yet. Okay. So if you're still at the point where you still look at negative situations or bad things that are happening to you as something that are happening to you and not for you, then you need to change that mindset. So, one of the reasons why I have such a positive mindset about everything that's happening, people think that I get a lot of my information externally, and they even think a lot of it, comes from God. And that is not necessarily the case. God leaves you to figure a lot of things out on your own. God may step in when you ask for help, but a lot of things you have to figure out on your own. You're having a life experience. What is the point of playing life and God is playing it for you? What is the point of playing life and God is giving you everything? How can you be proud of that? Doesn't it feel like cheating? To some people, they don't mind cheating as long as they get the end. But it's what has, there's this quote, I forget what it is, but it's really about the journey. It's the journey that develops you into the person that you're supposed to be. If you just drop down, if you went on a ride, if you went on a trip and you packed your bags and you got on the plane and then you snapped your fingers and then you were back home and you're like, wow, what a great trip. What would have been the point of that? The whole experience, the whole experience of the excitement of knowing that you're going on a trip, packing your bags, the days leading up to it, the anticipation, getting to the airport, getting on the plane, going through the flight, the first step off of the plane, knowing that you're on your vacation spot, relaxing, having the experiences, meeting new people, experiencing new things, eating new food. That's the point of the vacation, to experience the entire thing, to make the memories, even the bad ones. Remember that time and we got lost? Remember that time and we overpaid for something? Well, now you know that you might not want to go through the tour guides. Maybe you might want to go locally and find something. That is the point. That's the experience. It's the ride. Gang stalking is no different. As you go through a gang stalking experience, you see so many things. You experience so many things. You learn so many things. Now, let me not make anybody think that I was happy going through my entire gang stalking experience, but I will say I had an extremely fascinating experience of experiencing my divinity, my strength, who I am, experiencing God, experiencing all the energy, all the spiritual energy, good or bad, experiencing people who were bad and what they could do energetically. And it was just experiencing a whole new world. It wasn't just a world of, um, how would I put it? It wasn't just like the good parts of it that were fascinating. It was also experiencing the bad parts of it, connecting the dots, connecting how other people do things, experiencing how people think, experiencing things that are possible, knowing that everything is possible. Um, I've experienced people use their gifts for, to me, they were overworking. But I've experienced people use their gifts for all kinds of nonsense. People will come in and it's like they'll prey on your downfall to steal something from you when all they had to do was do the shadow work, which is hard, do the healing, which takes time. But once they're done that and they can access the divine, all they have to do is be in the proper life path. And the victory is guaranteed because it's written. People don't realize that they've actually thrown away their life path. They've actually thrown away their spiritual inheritance a long time ago by doing these kind of things, by participating in these activities. All the light and all the loving energy that was inside of them has been wasted. And not one of them do I see who I admire what they have. Not one of them. It's literally like I've never met a gang stalker that I could be impressed by. I've never met, well, I haven't met a bunch of chief gang stalkers, but it's like You're dying spiritually. You smell like you're dead. You smell like a corpse spiritually. And it's only getting worse. Look at this business. This establishment should be bigger. With all the gifts that you have, if you cannot call yourself a god and exist in shambles, gods don't come here to live like that. So for me, it's like, I'm sitting back and I'm thinking to myself, why not did this guy not develop this dealership with the platform that he has into a multinational organization? Why not develop the dealership? Why not put more dealerships out there? Why just the one that you use to attack just one person, and all people do is buy a little house, and then they depend on more criminal activities to pay for the house, and then they lose the house, and it's like you get 50,000 in one go and it drains out of your pocket. You get a lot of money, it drains out. For all this hard work, they have nothing to show. This is why it's like overworking to be underpaid, and somebody sold their soul for peanuts on the dollar. There is nothing to show. That is what the soul is worth, though, and that's the reality. That is what that soul is worth. They were told that they would get all of these things if they did this, and they're trying to do it, and it's not working. There's no point. To be up 24/7, and I heard a reader say this, in 24/7 antagonization mode, 24/7 fight mode, monitoring one person, to take some gifts from this person and then to lose it all anyway, is pointless. It is overworking. If you sell your soul, and I'm not advocating this at all because it's not worth it, there literally is no price big enough for that. But if you sell your soul, you should have Rolls Royces outside. You should have Lamborghinis. You shouldn't be still sitting in divination. You should have like a team of people doing that for you. You've literally sold your soul and wasted your life for nothing, because you have nothing to show and you're losing the little that you had. This is the point that people do not want to understand. So you must change your perspective. And you must understand that when you're given gifts from God, God is not giving the gift to who you are today. God is giving the gift to a future version of yourself. And so you must walk the path to become that person, to become that version of yourself. You're not just going to be given gifts, talents, and abilities without the ability to endure battles. You're not just going to be given gifts, talents, and abilities and not know how to defend it, how to protect it. Think about it. If you're a parent, you don't give your kids things that they can't handle. If your child is irresponsible, you're putting your child in a dangerous situation to put them behind the wheel of a car. That is the end of the story. And that is exactly what it is. You cannot get behind the wheel of a car and you're irresponsible and you have behaviors that lead you to self-sabotage and to destroy yourself. I don't care what anybody says, it's way worse to have gotten everything that you wanted, or at least just been close enough to see it, to visualize it, almost to so close you can touch it, and then lose it all. It's torturous. You don't know what your gifts are. You don't know what you're supposed to have. You only start getting closer and closer to it and feeling it and imagining it and touching it and getting closer to manifesting it, the closer and the more prepared you are to handle it. Sometimes some of our trials are more difficult because the blessings are harder. And it is a guaranteed fact that after every assignment that God gives you, blessings and nurturing you into who you're supposed to be is not just about you. When you walk the path of becoming who you were supposed to be, when you walk the path, listen closely, of who you are supposed to be, and you're going through the rough patch before you get the blessing, you are also attracting soul contracts of people who need to learn. That's why you have this adversity. These people around you needed to learn a lesson, and you're the one strong enough to help guide them through the lesson that they're supposed to learn. People continue to be tested. people need to be tested. Now, usually people go through these experiences one on one. So, say before you meet the love of your life, you get into a relationship with someone, and this person is a person that the opposite of what you should have. This person is a narcissist, they abuse you, all of that stuff. You learn all those lessons. Hopefully, you learn them. You don't stay there because it's a lesson and a cycle. It's not meant to stay. Exactly how they say, when you get to hell, you don't stop, you keep going. If you get into a storm, you don't stop there and start building a house in it. You keep going, you keep moving, you don't stay there. So you're in this narcissistic relationship, you don't live in that relationship, you keep going, you learn your lessons. This is teaching you what you don't want, what you won't tolerate, and how you will develop a healthy relationship in future. The problem is people stay there. And just because other people want to keep you there and they keep pulling you there in that reality does not mean that you need to stay there. You need to learn how to unattach yourself from those situations, how to walk away. In my case, I had to give a lot. I had to give up a little to get a lot. I gave up my old life to build a new one. And I'm so good with that because look at what was in that old life. I deleted all of those people from my existence. They don't belong with me. But now that I know what I don't want, now that I know what I could never allow to happen ever again, now I can walk into my future. When you're given these lessons, and this lessons that I just came out of was a very tough lesson because it didn't involve just one person. It involved everybody that I had met in my life up until that time. I had to basically, if you're closing out every single soul contract that you've ever had in your life, that is so tough on you psychologically. It is such a massive change. You're changing every aspect of your life that when you come into this new life, it just feels like you've died. There's the whole old version of you is dead. You've had a death. That is the point of what is happening here. It is a death and rebirth process. That is why it's so difficult. That is why it's so hard. That is why it is so draining because you're draining old energy out of your body. By the way, guys, I don't want to be ignoring anyone and I don't want anybody to feel ignored. I get a lot of trolls in here and I just don't know who's who. But also, too, I want to stay on the point that's in my mind and I don't want to get distracted. So please don't take it personally. Because I really have something that I want to articulate and I want to make sure I get it out. And sometimes when I watch my old videos, I realize that I get distracted by certain things and I forget the point that I'm giving out. But let me get back on it. It's really important to look at everything that you're going through. And when I was going through everything, I would get irritated by things and then I would be guided to look at things from a higher perspective. And now I've developed the habit of looking at things from a higher perspective and not looking at things just as what they are. So let me give an example. This is an example of me having to look at things from a higher perspective. I was going through everything and I was being attacked in every way. And I remember listening to certain readings and they're like, you're going to do this and you're going to do that. And I'm like, no, I'm not. No, I am not. I'm not going to do any of that. I don't care. I have a successful business. I have 2 stores in 2 malls. You know, for the pandemic, they're doing very well, etc., etc. And I'm moving forward and I was doing very well for myself. And people wanted to take credit for my success and it just wasn't, it wasn't what it was. When the world reopened, my store was the only store in all the malls for miles that had prom dresses. And I had good prom dresses, not like the old fashioned. So I had the stuff the girls wanted. You can't recreate that type of magic. That's when God is with you. That's when you're on God's time. I had the thought for whatever reason to go buy prom dresses. And I mean, I heavily invested in it. I bought gowns at a time the world was closed. And people would have thought that's crazy. As soon as the world opened, they gave no notice. They just told the children out of the blue, prom season is here. And you guys, parents were traveling 3-4 hours to get prom dresses. And we had our prom ads up all over my what we would call in Canada a state, our version of the state. I had it all over my state and People were driving in from all over to get dresses, and the people who wanted to get dresses couldn't get them in fast enough. When you're getting stuff in by the pallets like that, it takes a lot of time. So so they couldn't catch up. That was my market for that year. I was just well prepared. And this is the way it works. This is the way it works when you're on the right path, when you're doing the thing that you're supposed to do. It's just like when you have a passion for something. It's just like when you don't know why you're something that would be work for someone, say you're into, I don't know, IT, and it's just like a passion for you that you want to learn how to script, you want to learn how to do all of these things. That's your calling. At some point, that's going to be your calling. That's part of what that is. So you have to nurture those skills. And when you look at people who have those kind of callings, it takes a long time for people to come into their calling. People always think they're just going to step into a situation and next month and in 6 months, I'm going to be a billionaire. And it doesn't work like that. I've been working at this store thing for so long. I've been working for myself in retail for so long that a lot of what they're teaching, or a lot of when I listen to podcasts and different things like that, a lot of what they're talking about, I've already done that. I had to learn to do that by trial and error. I had to see what people were responding to. So it takes a really, really, really long time to get to where you're going. Nobody, I promise you, this is one of the hardest lessons I had to learn, because I always felt like everything people were doing was just affecting me. No one can take your destiny from you. You just probably don't know what your destiny is, but people cannot take it. They cannot steal your destiny as long as you keep going and pursuing it. If you sit down and you miss your own opportunities, that has to be self-directed, but what God has for you cannot be missed. I promise you. So I'm going through this and I'm going through all the phases, and it's like at one point I have to shut down a store, I have to open another store. I have to we the last store that I shut down was like 3,000, almost 4,000 square feet. Beautiful, large store. Had to shut down the store. But all the time, regardless of what was opening or shutting or what was happening, the development to the store was just, the store had completely transformed as far as like our online platform, our marketing, our locations, the contracts we were getting. I was getting better, and it was undeniable. I was speaking to a different audience of people. I was, even in my negotiations internally, everything was improving, and it continues to improve. And that is because I refuse to let go of my vision and of my dream. It is something that I want to do. Now, perhaps the way I wanted to pursue it is not the way God figures that I'm going to have it. But because I have to be in service to God, that's also part of it as well. That's part of your gift. When you get your gift is because you're in service to God. Your gift is something that God needs. And this is what, if you're building something and it's not in service to others, it will fail. If you go into a relationship, whether platonic or, what is the word? I guess sexual. I don't know. The word is not coming to me. But if you go into any relationship and you're worrying about your perspective, what you're going to get out of it, it is going to fail. You're not going to be able to derive what you need to derive from it. It is not going to work. This is what being really in love is like. I've been really in love. This is what it really feels like. It is constantly giving. It is constantly making someone happy. It is being hyper aware of their feelings, of how you are coming across, of how you make them feel. It is constantly wanting to make them happy and not worrying anything about yourself at all. You're not thinking about yourself. That's why they say love is blind. And that's why they say that when you're in love, it's like a lot of people don't want to be in love. It's a dangerous feeling. You want to give this person everything, you want to make them happy. You are of service to them and their happiness. You're catering to them. That's what it feels like to be in love. And you got to take that same thing to that same expression, that same ideology. You have to take it to every relationship that you have. That this relationship, you're in service of another. So when you have friendships, when you have a business, when you have a job and you go in there and you're constantly in service of others, people perceive that. Even if their heart is closed, even if their heart is stunted, even if they have a lower ability to feel, whenever someone comes around you and this person is a person who consistently makes you happy, a person who consistently gives back to you, a person who brightens your day when they walk into the room, a person that we all have people like that in our lives, or we've known people like that. As soon as they walk in, it's like you're ready to drop all your conversations, everything you were doing, and run into their orbit. Oh my God, how are you? How? Because they're positive, they're light, they bring light everywhere they go. This is the personality that you need to embody. You start by giving back to others with a full heart, making things right for people, building up your tokens in your karmic bank, getting closer and closer to God as you continue to ascend and be blessed for your service, for your goodness, for your love, getting higher and higher and higher. And as you ascend and you touch the hem of God, because you will. You will. It is not some special gift for only one of us. It is for everyone to touch the hem of God. And I'm not talking about in your mind, in your imagination. I'm talking about in your physical reality, day to day. You didn't know that was possible, but it is. And I'm telling you because I'm there. To touch the actual hem of God, God to physically come into your life. I said physically, I mean you see God in your presence. You see God around you like how you would see a ghost. That's why I call her the Holy Ghost. Physically, you see her. To me, I've ascended. How is there even an ascension higher than that? There probably is. For God to speak to you personally in a very real way, for God to say, no, don't go there. Go book the trip over there. Take that country. Okay, no, don't get that one. Do that one. I mean, I had an experience that was whittled down so much that I get dressed with God for special occasions. I'm like, what should we wear? Are you sure these two things are going to work together? Are you sure? Yes, put them on. I put it on and I take pictures, and I'm telling you, it's like I get there and everybody's attracted to me the whole day. It's like two pieces that you would just never think would work together. Like it's just a miraculous experience. It is an insane way to live. This is how you're supposed to live. You're not supposed to live the way that they're telling you right now. You see beauty in everybody. You see people, you see right through them. You see to the soul of them. You see who they really are. You see the age that they are spiritually. You meet somebody and you don't see their money and you don't see their job and you don't see their status. You just see that this is a 7-year-old boy whose parents didn't pay attention to him, and people have failed him, and nobody celebrated birthdays with him. And he's grown up with this attitude that nobody really cares. He expects people to use him. He definitely cowers to people a little bit too much. You just start reading people. They're talking about ice cream. You guys are standing there and they're telling you about the ice cream stand, and this is what's coming to you. And you're like, wow. So you don't now have to treat this person and hate this person because you see the 7-year-old child. And so sometimes maybe I'm a mother, and sometimes it's like the mother in me comes out because I see a 7-year-old child. I don't see a man in his 50s. I see a man who's 7 years old, and he has trauma and he has things that are bothering him. And so perhaps I might come off very loving, very nurturing. I might listen a little bit more to him than everybody else at the table. When he starts talking, I turn my body and I listen. And I have nothing to say or no input or no judgment. I just listen and give him that opportunity to finally be heard. And that is why people like to be in my energy and in my presence. It's because I can spot the things that they need and the healing that they need. And so I found myself in gang stalking where somebody wanted that ability and somebody only saw that ability as everybody likes you. Everywhere you go, you attract everybody, everybody likes you. But they misread it. People only like being in my presence because of that nurturing energy and because I see them and because I accept them no matter where they are on their life journey. They may be on their life journey where they're going through prostitution. They may be on their life journey where they do horrible things to other people. But I understand somewhere in me that that is the place that they're supposed to be at this particular time because they're serving a purpose. It is not a good place to be and it is not a way to live. And I can assist them probably in saying, well, you know better than that. Yes, you do know better than that. I see you for who you are. I see what you're doing, but you have the ability to not be that person. You have the ability to be a better person and it'll feel better. And they take it as, well, you're accepting me for who I am. I'm accepting the part of your journey you're on. But you and I both don't accept where you are because you're not happy. You're not happy because your heart is blocked and you have an inability to connect to people. And because your heart is blocked, you can't connect to people. You don't feel liked everywhere you go. If you have to manipulate your way to it. You have to give them some value. You have to promise them something. You have to acquiesce to their requests. You have to make them happy. And that's not a healthy way to have a relationship function. You have to manipulate people to get people to like you. And here you see somebody else who does nothing, contributes what you think is nothing, and everybody likes them and everybody flocks to them and everybody defends them and everybody, but you're looking at it the wrong way. It starts from inside. Once you accept who you are and where you are in your journey, and that you will always be taken care of, even if you land on the streets, you will be taken care of. That you can release control of your journey, that you can allow it to happen no matter how scary it looks, that you can observe without absorbing. That was a huge lesson for me in gang stalking. I was observing chaos around me and people trying to bully me and people trying to tear me down, but I wasn't absorbing that energy. I wasn't absorbing the anxiety, the stress, the fear. I just saw it. And I saw behind the mask of everybody who came into my space. Somebody was supposed to come into my space to gang stalk me, but really what I saw was an immigrant woman who's doing this because she has children, she's terrified, or they brought her over here, or they have control of her passport or control of her life. There's some sort of manipulation that's illegal going on. She doesn't want to be there. She doesn't want to do this. This happened to her. And now she has to do it to somebody else. And she's getting stressed out by the whole thing. Those are the kind of people that I've seen. And I'm not saying that I am making excuses for people gang stalking. It is the most horrible thing that you can ever do to yourself and anyone else. I'm not making excuses for the behaviors of others. I'm saying what I saw. My neighbor who took so much pleasure in gang stalking me, in hacking me, I didn't necessarily see a grown man who was a hacker and who was delirious to gang stalk me. I saw somebody who wanted a big house, who wanted a Lamborghini, who wanted a car, who was like a child who wanted these things. I don't know why. Maybe there was somebody growing up that he saw that had those things. Who knows what it was, but I just didn't see what I was supposed to see. I didn't see something that was a threat to me, and that's why, well, that's part of why it didn't I wasn't scared of it. There was no fear. They want me to like run and be panting and run into a room, and it's just like I just look at them and I'm just like, I see no point in negotiating with this person about why they're doing this. because they need to heal the little boy that felt like he didn't have things. He doesn't need to heal right now. You think that you're going to start your healing right now. Your healing starts where the trauma started, where the trauma that started it all, that you didn't have the tools to heal. That's where the healing starts. You heal that, it opens up your heart. When it opens up your heart, then it opens up your throat and you can express it. When I was younger, I was raped. When I was younger, nobody paid attention to me. When I was younger, I felt like I wasn't a part of my family, etc., etc. You can express it, then you can release it, you can take it off your chest, you can get it off your back. You're no longer embarrassed of it. You don't have to do things to hide it, to mask it, constantly to fill in the gaps with all of these things that we keep doing instead of healing. I must always have makeup and look perfect. And then I'm going to feel like, the highest version of myself, the prettiest version of myself. And men are going to like fall at my feet and I'm going to have this control over them and I'm going to feel powerful. And in a little way, it's payback for the man who hurt me, the first man who hurt me, who holds a space in my heart. It is important to heal these things so that they cannot be used to block you later. And you don't use them to block yourself later, because more than anything, gang stalking is not them sabotaging you. Gang stalking you is putting you in a position that you self-sabotage yourself. Putting you in a position, you have to stop wanting the business for them to take the business. No one can take a business from you. You're the one with the ideas. You're the one doing the work. We can't take it like that. You have to choose to sell your house at a certain price. We can't just take the house. We're going to bully you to list very low, but we can't take it from you. These are the lessons that you need to learn through the gang stalking journey. It's not here just to turn off your cell phone and turn off your laptop and not be hacked and run away from it. You are here to learn the triggers to close all the cycles that you left open because you didn't heal them. I'll give you an example. There was somebody that I dated, and I spent way more time in that situation than I should have. That situation taught me a lot of huge lessons. I held on way too long. And then there was a point where I just wanted to heal from it. He had a hold on me, and I just wanted to heal from it enough that I could be in his presence and not. I wanted to test if I had truly healed. And I wanted to be in his presence to test if I wanted to go back there, if that was something that I wanted. And I had healed enough that when I looked at him as a person, I saw how unhealed he was. He was unhealed from a past relationship that he had that was extremely traumatic. And so he never grew from that experience. And everybody around him knew how much that experience hurt him. He wasn't able to love me if he wanted to. But more than anything, he wasn't the one for me. And I just had to accept that. And I would say in my human experience that, well, I let it go on too long. But the reality is it went on as long as it should have. I had to spend as much time as I did in there and feel that it went on too long to experience it and to know not what to do. So the second time I met someone who was extremely hurt and had those same kinds of wounds and had the same response to it, I didn't respond in the same way. I didn't find myself trapped in that situation or in that cycle. I was able to use that past hurt, that past experience, because I had learned from it. I was able to use it to be able to put myself in the best version of that situation and to be able to make someone realize that they had been hurt and they had to heal this thing because this thing had a hold of them. So it was same person, same potential experience, but a dramatically new approach that transformed the entire experience from what could have been negative into being positive for myself. Because I learned boundaries, I learned when not to accept what was beneath me, what was not for me. I knew when to say, I'm not tolerating this behavior and you're going to lose me if you don't step it up. But that is something that I had to learn. That is why you go through the situations that you go through in life. Not because you're being punished, but you need to learn. You need to learn how to transmute that energy. People think you need spell work, or you need to learn some spell or some incantation to like be an alchemist. You need to learn lessons. You need to take a negative experience that has completely soaked into your system and changed you. You need to allow it to change you and be a better version of yourself, so that when you come out of this experience, you know how, when encountered with the same people who are trying to give you the same experience, that you can have a different outcome, a positive outcome. You could turn this negative thing into something positive. And that's why I've had to sit in gang stalking. I've had to learn how to turn these negative experiences into something positive, into something useful, into something I can recognize when these kind of people come towards me. I know how never to find myself in this situation again. And unfortunately, until you learn your lessons, you're not going to be able to leave. So what's the cheat code to leave, whether it's gang stalking? All God is doing, all the universe is doing, is painting you a new canvas, a new scenery by which for you to win this level. Exactly like video games. The video game would be so boring if it had the same setting. Whatever it is, Grand Theft Auto, whatever it is, you're gonna get a new city, you're gonna get a new location, you're gonna get a new scenery, and you're in some games you get like a whole new thing that you're supposed to get. Something you're supposed to master before you can level up. Tapping into God is cheat codes. That is the cheat code. That's simple. Tapping into your highest self is the cheat code. Everybody, we have a highest self, and God manifests you as the version of your highest self, depending on where you are in your life journey, depending on where you are spiritually, depending on what gifts you inherited from past lifetimes. If you look at birth charts, it explains that a lot better. Where you were in the past is where your highest self manifests towards you. So not all of us are at the same level, and that is to be expected, and that is to be accepted as well. Like, not everybody needs to be like some goddess energy. Some people can be like, just a sewer, a seamstress, whatever you call it. In tarot will explain where you are in your life journey, the expression of your energy, the expression of your highest self. So when you look at people and you look at just what they are in this lifetime, I'm going to use somebody random, P. Diddy. You look at him and yes, he has money, but that doesn't mean that he's in the highest version of himself. He could just be a King of Pentacles reversed. And that's what he is. Him being a King of Pentacles reversed doesn't mean that he didn't have money, but he's not ascended. He's not the ascended version of himself. He's the karmic version of himself. We're here to be in the upright and to be the most ascended versions of ourselves. That is where your power is. Whatever power you have when you're in a reverse position, if you're in the upside down place, whatever power, money you have, you're just one life lesson away from losing it all and losing yourself and starting back from scratch. Things must be built on a solid foundation. They must be built in the upright. Relationships, friendships, anything you have must be built in the upright. It must be built in the position where you are of service to others, where you're giving to others. And you are only fooling yourself if you feel like you're being stupid by giving to do you know what kind of equity it is when people look at you as a good person? Let me tell you what type of equity it is. I was gang stalked and nobody believed any of the rumors about me could be true. Oh, she's a horrible person. Didn't believe it. Oh, she's a drug addict. Didn't believe it. Oh, she sleeps around. Totally didn't believe it. Nobody believed it. People might have just not said anything to them, but nobody believed it. People rolled their eyes and people still came around and were friendly to me all the time. It was barely gang stalking. These people look stressed out every time they're in my energy. People were flat out outside of my store on the phone saying, I don't want to be here right now. Why am I here? I don't want to be here. and left, would not face me. People would come and have to be polite to deliver their gang stalking lines. They would have to be polite and say, wow, you have a very nice place here. Well, I hope you have a good day. Like, and it wasn't coming from a place where those were part of their lines. They just really felt that way. There were people delivering lines, like they sent people to talk poorly about me. And, I was a teenage mom, and I wanted my children. Like, I planned both of my kids. I'm very intentional about that. If I don't want kids, I'm not having kids. I don't have random kids with anybody. Um, I wanted my kids, and I'm happy that I have them, and they are the core of my life. They're my nucleus. I'm in love with my children. And they wanted to talk badly about me having kids. And it's like, I love my kids. So I don't care what age I have them, and neither do I care what anybody else has to say about them. I take excellent care of them. They have everything. They have everything. They've had amazing experiences. I won't even go into it, but they've had a good life, and it shows in who they are. And so it's like they wanted to have people come in and say, oh my God, how old were you when you had your kids? And it was like I had already healed from any version of myself that would have reacted to that. And even still, when the lady, she came in and she said that, I just stood there and I looked at her, and she was like, oh, but it's okay. My mom had me very young too. And I know that she was just doing something she was bullied to do. And I just sat there and, well, I think I was standing. I just stood there and I looked at her and I said, oh, okay, well, that's nice. Because I was looking at her almost like, I don't want to say like a parent or a teacher, but it's kind of like that feeling where I'm looking at someone, I'm like, why would you say that? That's a horrible thing to say. Are you sure that's really what you want to say? And she got the message. She was like, no, that actually is not what I want to say. And it's just giving someone an opportunity to do better. Do better. This is not who you really think you are. This is not the way you want to live. This is embarrassing. This is mortifying. And you think about this at night and you think, like, this is not the way that I should be living. As much light as has come from your body, you still have enough in you to feel shame, which means that you are consciously aware that what you're doing is not right. And if you have the ability to discern between doing good and bad, then you have the ability to choose not to do bad because you can discern what bad is. You have the ability to say, what I'm doing is not right. And you know that. Why continue down this path where it is getting you nothing but unhappiness, anxiety, depression, and stress? Why not step out of the cycle and free yourself? Oh, but it's not easy. You don't understand. I won't make money. You don't understand. These people are evil. These people are powerful. It's time to develop a relationship with God and with yourself. It's time for, yeah, a part of you, a portion of you has to pay for what you did. There's no getting out of it. People gang stalking me could have made a decision a year ago when they were being warned, and as things were being fought out of their hands, clawed out of their hands, as there was this heavy energy that came into their world, this beastly energy that shakes the ground every time it puts a foot down, that started clawing through their entire community, swiping them down one by one. They had the opportunity to turn it around. They sacrificed themselves. And now there is no way out because this is how they've devised it for other people. There is a community of people in anxiety because their worst fears are coming true, and there is nothing that they can do to stop it. Every path is blocked, and they are surrounded not just by one enemy, but all the people who've assisted them along the way. Everybody's turning on everybody. Everybody's terrified. Things are going to come out because once one situation blows up and explodes, it creates a domino effect for all the other injustices to be exposed. It only takes mentioning one name because they operate as a unit, as a network. It only takes one person to be exposed to expose an entire unit. People have publicly aligned themselves out there with these energies, with these people. Everybody who follows all of each other, everybody who's assisted, given business, shaken hands in any way, it is a network. And unfortunately, when a lot of people were being tested on their morals, on their ethics, they joined the network. They were okay with hurting someone else, with debilitating somebody else's ability to evolve. They were okay with doing that for a little bit of money. Very little money. Very, very, very little money. Money they could have manifested themselves. Money they could have made themselves even without manifestation, even without being deeply tapped in, just literally taking time out to work for it. You don't come here to live a solely spiritual existence where you're solely dependent on spirituality. You come here to have a human experience. And the same way, ask yourself, is it enough to spiritually have sex with somebody in your head, or do you not want to have a physical experience? So you come here to do the physical labor. And in the same way, you could look at sex as a very gratifying experience, a positive experience. It's the same way that you're going to have experiences that are going to feel not so positive, like grinding towards a goal, like it taking extra time for you to, get something, it not taking 1, 2, or 3 years, but seeing continual growth over time as you continue to persist. It takes the same effort, if not less. It takes way less effort to work what we call hard for things, which is not true. It takes the same effort to work diligently towards things, or less effort, sorry. It takes less effort towards diligently towards things than to steal things, rob for things, have a foundation that's faulty that can collapse in on itself at any time. You've built a house on a hollow platform, and it begins to be shakier and shakier as you have all kinds of things come your way that naturally comes everybody's way. People naturally face floods. They naturally face earthquakes. They naturally face fires. They naturally face hurricanes. But when your house is built on a solid foundation, though you may lose your roof, though you may lose, you may even lose the whole house, but the foundation is good and it's yours and it was paid full out in cash. So you can build another one because you built the first one the right way. You know how to build the building so you can rebuild it. And in fact, there were improvements you wanted to make to the last house. So now you build something way bigger, way better. That's the point. As this disaster comes into your space, you build back better. So putting yourself in a situation where you truly know how to build, putting yourself in a situation where you truly know how to rebuild yourself when you're given an opportunity to have a new beginning, putting yourself in an opportunity where something like gang stalking, something like a bad breakup, something like bankruptcy, something like homelessness doesn't make your house collapse. It puts you in a situation where you say, that business was too small anyway. That house was too small anyway. I don't want neighbors next time. I don't want to be next to a road. I don't want to be next to a park or a hospital. I don't want this. I don't want that. So now the next time you're building something solid. You're like, oh, so if I do that, people can take that from me. Or if I go that way, that's possible to happen. Great. Now that I'm building it, I'm going to build it rock solid. I'm going to take precautions that I don't need. I'm going to not take shortcuts with my life. I'm not going to do anything illegally or things that I shouldn't that I shouldn't do. I'm not going to steal from people. I'm not going to tarnish people's reputations. Now you know you've been through things and you are supposed to evolve from these experiences. You're only supposed to get better. So I want to just end it here. I had things to talk about, but I'm going to end it here because I hope people can get something from this. As you go through these circumstances in life that you think are major problems, first things first, observe and do not absorb. Observe what people are doing, observe their reactions as simply learned behavior from unhealed trauma. You're not looking at somebody who's the age that they are. This person could literally be 3 years old. They could this could people There's kids who get raped at 3. There's all kinds of things that happen in life we don't know, but try to look beyond what people are showing you and try to see in like the heart of them. Why would a person be this angry? Why would a person be this jealous? Why would a person be this manipulative? It will help you not absorb their behavior because you see that it's not coming from a place where you're not good enough. It's coming from a place where they feel they're not good enough. So that's number one. When you're done seeing people for who they are and you're able to not absorb their behaviors and their traumas, and you're able to not let it in because you have the boundaries that shield you, now that you're at this place with yourself and you're deflecting that energy, you're able to not have other people's vibration affect your vibration. So you're going to walk in yourself and they're going to walk in themselves. And by experiencing you, it will mirror back to them what they need to work on. By experiencing you, it will mirror back to them what they could be if they try. And so when you see them mimicking your behaviors, they're not trying to be you. They're not trying to copy off of you. They're trying to learn. And it's going to manifest itself as someone who behaves in a hateful manner because they resent that you're already there where they want to be. Perhaps they have more money than you, more connections than you, better looks than you, and more friends than you. And they can't understand that they have all these things that they're meant to fill in the gaps inside of them, the hollowness inside of them. And you're the one out here happy. And you're the one out here being you in this high vibration, in this loving energy. Because you're able to, again, observe and not absorb, you can just observe that behavior as confused admiration, and you can just be a little kinder to them and a little bit more nurturing to them in that energy, that attack mode that they're in, where they want to take the essence of who you are and not give you credit for it. They're not copying you. They're trying to learn from you, and because you are the embodiment of what they want to be, they emulate your style and they try to do it. So I'm here to say, if you want to be liked, you have to be likable. If you want to be loved, you have to be lovable. If you want to be successful, you have to aim for success all the time in the right ways. And success is about giving and being of service. The best companies, the best companies are focused on the customer, not on me, 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 me. What can we do for you? How can we solve your problems? How can we make you happy? Not me, me, me. The best husbands, when we look on social, they're constantly giving to their wife. They're helping her with chores. They're taking care of the kids. They're working hard. They're building a good life. She's happy. What do we all say? Oh my God, she's so lucky. She's fulfilled, which motivates her to create a happy environment for him. He probably gets to have sex every night. That's why he's doing all of these chores. He's probably happy as hell at home. He probably gets good, warm cooked meals. He probably gets a massage before bed. He probably gets someone who's very supportive. He gets a loving version of a woman. He gets a woman who's extremely loyal. He doesn't even have to question if she would cheat. He gets someone who takes care of him financially, probably. It's a give and take. As you give, it creates the infinity symbol. One flows into the next. Love from one flows into the next. And that's how you have this this cycle that keeps evolving itself into people who enjoy being around each other. It works the same way in every single relationship, business to business, business to customer, whatever have you. Friendships, acquaintanceships, job and employer. The employers who give the most to their employees are the ones who get the most out of their employees. They want to give you And then everybody wants to work there. A positive culture means really checking the toxic people and giving them an opportunity to change or taking them out of your environment, not encouraging their behavior because they make a lot of money for you. This is using not just this, but using this. It doesn't come from here. The gifts, they don't come from here. They don't come from strategy. Blessings and abundance doesn't come from here. It comes from here. It comes from passion. It comes from love. It comes from wanting to help people, solving problems. It comes from the heart chakra. That's why you can't create, because it's blocked. And once this is blocked, everything's blocked. This can't open. This can't open. This is definitely not opening. Everything is bottled and it's corrosive. It's eating itself alive. Over time, the longer it stays there, it manifests, and you make yourself attractive to lower vibrational energies. And the same way you can manifest God into your existence in real life, you can manifest lower energies into your existence in real life as well. You can, and a lot of people do, and they're just unaware, because this lower energy is the energy that says, who does she think she is? The lower energy is the one that says, I'm better than that person. The lower energy is the one that says, that person doesn't deserve that. That is that lower entity talking to you, and you've assumed its voice because it's been there so long. You've become friends with it, you've become comfortable with it, and it is destroying you. It is not concerned with feeding light. You have to put yourself in a situation where you can separate yourself from the energy, the entity, the force that wants to corrode and destroy. Separate yourself from it. Look at it for what it is. It is not you. Separate yourself and say, like, I don't have to tolerate this behavior. You need to start thinking better thoughts. You're not, when you're doing anything, you're not thinking about, I want to hurry up and get to 20 years in where I'm completely healed. When you are coming into a new phase of your life, you're taking one day at a time. You're giving everything that you have every single day, learning as many lessons, being the best version of yourself every day, and challenging yourself and picking up yourself every time you slip. I slipped into a negative thought. I got to pick myself up from this. I slipped into, being angry again. I got to pick myself up. I'm actively doing that. Nobody's perfect. It's the life experience. It's being human. You slip back into it. I slip back into being hateful. I have to pick myself up. I slip back into being antagonizing myself. I pick myself back up. I don't beat myself up for having that phase. I'm glad I had it. I needed to experience it. Experiencing it taught me that I don't want to continue experiencing it. So every time I get closer to slipping into it, I can catch myself. And that doesn't mean you don't have a shadow self and you don't have to protect yourself and you don't have to save yourself and you don't have to rescue yourself, but it means that you are doing so with light energy and you're doing so in the best version of yourself and you're doing so for the best objectives, not out of hate and not out of uncontrollable anger and not out of lust. Doesn't matter how much there is to heal. You must separate yourself from those behaviors. You must separate yourself from the parts of you that engage in certain behaviors, activities, and patterns of thought. And it is a tough battle in the beginning, and it only gets easier day after day as you slip, as you continue slipping into the negative behavior, catching yourself and pulling yourself back to the higher version of yourself until one day your dark side surrenders completely to your light side. There is this feeling that people have that when you're human, you're only one or the other. You're only a bad person or a good person. You're both. You're split down the middle where your chakras are. And one part of your vessel can only inhabit dark. It's your shadow self. And one part of your vessel can only inhabit light. Even entities are like this. Gods, goddesses, they're not just one or the other. We'll see this in the Bible. God both creates and destroys. So we are all a manifestation of light beings. So, well, anyway, that's another topic, but we all have higher energy. We are energy inhabiting a vessel. We were gifted a vessel. That's it. To feel in a more intense way. to feel in a more intense way. Spirits don't feel like we feel. That's why they always want a vessel to experience that. They don't feel the way that we feel. If you see energies, they don't have like expressions. Like they don't have like, it's a sullen look. They can be happy, but they still have this sullen look on their face. They're only happy in vibration. They're not happy in feeling. It's a different thing. They're vibrating love, or they're vibrating hate, or they're vibrating whatever. So that vibration is also, we feel it as a frequency. But for us, it's the culmination of all our feelings that creates our vibration. You want to feel more happy feelings to have a happier vibration. You want to feel more lower feelings to have lower vibration. Your body can hold both energies, so you get to decide which one you want to fill. You need to drain the lower one and fill in the light one to touch God, to be in your north node. Your north node goes up. So you need to ascend. And your body wants to ascend. It's like a boy. No matter what pressure you put on it, it's always finding a path to ascend, to get up, to get light. That's why it doesn't feel good to have conflict with people. It doesn't. And if it does feel good to have conflict with people, and there are people like that have gotten to that point, it's not you enjoying the conflict with people. It's the energy on you enjoying the conflict with people. It's the energy on you enjoying the sabotaging behaviors. It's the energy on you feeding on your negativity. You must separate yourself from the energy. You must bring your darker self in surrender to your lighter self, so that at the point that you ever utilize your darker self, it is at the command of your lighter self and under strict, stringent control of your lighter self. So you know when to stop. You know when enough is enough. You know when you've made a point without destroying something completely. You can stop yourself because there's nothing, your light energy doesn't even enjoy this experience. So it doesn't want to feed on this. It does this out of necessity, out of self preservation. This is how you master yourself. So the first patience and discipline starts at your foundation, at the core, with the healing. That is what's going to take a lot of patience, the worst off you've allowed yourself to become, and a lot of discipline to keep with the process when you've been fighting it for months. You've been trying not to send energy towards someone. You've been trying not to be hateful, but you're in a situation where you feel like you need it for self preservation. You're trying. You must continue to try to take yourself out of this cycle. It will kill everything in it. The work must be done. It's not just a matter of perishing, because if God wanted you to just perish right away, God doesn't need anyone to go through all this. A snap of a finger is an understatement. A plague, a hurricane, an earthquake, a flood. You need to learn. You're in this to learn. And the energies on you are going to discourage you all the time. And you have to recognize the path that you're on, where you've been holding back for so long. You've been starving it, and it's hungry, and it's provoking you every day. And you're holding back. And the minute you get a little taste, you go too crazy. And you just snowball into these behaviors that are from past traumas. You got to release everything. You got to release everything. You got to let it go. And you got to stop letting these energies utilize your vessel and take your life away from you. And I'm going to leave it here because I've gone on longer than I should. This is my message for today, completely unscripted, because I just keep having the feeling that people are not taking the journey of this as seriously as they need to, and they keep looking at the 3D, and 3D is only a manifestation of the 5D. If things are not good spiritually, they most certainly are not going to be good in your reality. So I hope I helped somebody. Leave a comment. Let me know if I've helped you. Let me know if I have brought you any clarity, any light. Sending loving energy and healing energy towards everybody, as I myself am also on my healing journey. I want to think that it's only my physical body that I heal, but I also need to heal my emotions, my mind, and my heart. So again, have a good day. Um, And hopefully somebody really thinks about what I'm saying.